All right, so as we started our search for the perfect place, the place that was going to check the most boxes for us, we developed a list of wants and desires in the eventual city that we were going to land in. So today we thought we'd go over what our spreadsheet looks like as far as what those wish lists, what that all entailed. And so yeah, we've got, I think, about 13 or 14 kind of items, and we'll go through those one by one and let us know if you guys have a similar sort of wish list developed for your future retirement city. I know for us, these things were super important. So Steve, what's the first one?
We wanted to be 30 minutes from an international airport. We love to travel. We love to be able to, get to the next destination, the next adventure. So being in close proximity to a major airport that was international, not just a major airport, but that was international, so that we could get back to the United States, so that we could fly across the world, wherever. We don't want to have to connect to multiple different legs. We just kind of want to get on a plane and get somewhere.
And get going. Yeah, totally agree. So that was super important to us. We did look at some places and we had recommendations for places that were kind of remote. We looked at a few of the islands even off of Portugal and Spain. And we just ultimately decided that having to take another puddle jumper or a 4-hour ferry ride to get from here to there to the next place, that was just gonna be a logistical mess, and we didn't wanna do that, especially with the islands. If you look at Ponta Delgada, the Azores, those different places, they're beautiful,
Gorgeous.
They're spectacular islands, but you've got to take a puddle jumper with a different carrier to get back to the mainland, like Lisbon or Madrid or Barcelona, and then get on a main primary carrier for your second leg of the flight. And if that puddle jumper, which is usually like a dual prop kind of plane situation, if that is delayed or canceled, or there's wind on the island and you can't get off, your next flight is going to continue to move on without you, because it's not like a sold through kind of ticket situation. So we decided that for us, that was a little bit too much logistically to manage.
And our family still lives in the United States, as we do right now. So being able to get back to them if something were to happen, we just wanted to make sure we could do all that.
Yeah. So item number 2 on our list was to be within 30 minutes of a mega city. So we wanted to have a large city with all the stuff accessible in and around 30 minutes away. We definitely knew that we did not want to live in a huge city after having spent a ton of time exploring and spending many weeks in mega cities throughout Europe. We decided that living within a huge city was not for us, but we did want to have it accessible on a 30-ish minute basis. And that was for our own ability to go see shows, to go see concerts, whatever we might want to see, have family and friends in town and be able to get there for a day trip and then come back. We really wanted to have that 30-minute proximity.
Shopping if needed.
Yeah, shopping, everything that you might want to have. I mean, you have everything from the IKEA to the big box stores to home improvement, all that sort of thing. We didn't want to be in a small village without access to anything. That was something that was not going to work for us. The next item was, having spent a bunch of time in the big cities in Europe, we wanted to have very high safety. That was something that we did not want to have to deal with. When you go to Rome and you go to Madrid and you go to Barcelona, it's generally very safe. There's very little violent type crime, but there's a lot of little pickpockety type things. And for us, that was just something that if you're going to live somewhere, you want to be able to kind of let your guard down a bit and not have to be worried about locking the door every single time and not leaving stuff out on the cafe table when you're sitting out, and having it all in your possession in your bag or your backpack, kind of the strap of it around your leg, or the tourists all carrying their stuff like this. That was not
how can you spot a tourist?
Yeah, how can you spot an American tourist? We didn't want to deal with that on a permanent basis. We thought that sounded kind of tiring. And this is Oliver, by the way. In the last video, he was not making an appearance. He was he was laying there on his back, getting scratched the entire time. But today he's decided he's going to be awake and say hi to everybody. He's going on a boat ride here in a little bit. We're going to putz around the intercoastal. The next thing that Speaking of what? Proximity to water, yes. So the next item for us, we love the mountains, but we are huge beach and outdoor people in general. We wanted to have that outdoor culture with a beach. That was incredibly important to us. We have to be walkable to a beach. So the city that we ended up landing at in Spain is the flat that we purchased is, what is it, 200 meters?
Yep.
It's about 200 meters to the beach.
Less than that, much less than that.
Maybe less than that. Very easily walkable. It's a couple blocks right to the beach. And for us, it was incredibly important. We did not want to have to go get in a car or take an Uber or taxi to get to water. We wanted to be able to easily see that, which we walk out the front door and there's the Mediterranean. That's exactly what we wanted. We love those like long sight lines. We don't like feeling like hemmed in a big city. It's just not for us, at least on a permanent basis or a more permanent basis. So walkable to a beach was super important. The next thing, and this kind of piggybacks off of that, is a sunny and warm climate. We don't mind a little chilliness in the winter, but we did not want to have that like below freezing, that sets in for like 3 or 4 months, and we never want to see snow or have to shovel snow ever again. We can go up to the mountains, we can go to the Pyrenees in about 2 hours and go to the ski resorts and go check out the snow when we want to see it, and then be able to...
It's fun to visit, it's not fun to live in.
Exactly. Get back in the car and leave and not have to actually exist in it, which is exactly the way that we like to experience our snow days. So I know some folks say like, ooh, we can go drive and spend time at the beach, and they'd rather exist in the mountains. Obviously, just a personal kind of opinion there. But the next thing is about like the car dependency. Steve.
Yeah, I think what we said in our previous video, that we love to walk everywhere. We love to be mobile, and we did not want to live in a place where we had to drive in order to do that. We wanted to be able to walk out of our flat door or house or whatever it was, and be able to walk to the coffee shop and walk to the bakery and do all those things, and I think more so feel that sense of community and not feel like we had the big yard and all of that. That just doesn't appeal to us. It may appeal to some people, but we've been there and done that, and we much rather just be able to walk out the door and say hello to our neighbors and see people and people watch and all that fun stuff. So
yeah, America is very much like a bedroom community. We have our big cities that everyone knows about in Europe, and they all come to visit New York and LA and those sort of things, but largely Americans exist in a very disconnected, very bedroom community kind of way, where we're suburban, we don't talk to our neighbors. Like, it's a very disconnected kind of, I don't want to say sad, but it feels kind of sad way of life. And we did not want to duplicate that experience when we moved to Europe. Since Spain is very social, very walkable, everyone talks to each other, whether you know people or not. We really wanted to embrace that in Spain and not recreate the American suburban experience by buying a big home up in the cliffside or mountainside where you're having to get in the car to go everywhere and you're super disconnected. So
beautiful views, but
awesome views from those, yeah. And they're surprisingly affordable, but for us, like living in the density of it all, but not, we didn't want to live in 20-story buildings. We like the kind of mid-rise, low-rise kind of stuff. And yeah, so the city we found is perfect match for us that way. The next thing is walkability to public transport. We wanted to be able to get preferably to rail within a walk. And so within 5-6 minutes of exiting our apartment, we can be on a rail and take that rail to Barcelona. And that's about a 35 or so minute train ride to get to Barcelona. So that was really important to us. You can also take that same train all the way through to Barcelona, all the way through to Paris. You can go, quite a ways on that rail system. So that was really important to us, as parking in those cities is no fun, so nor is driving. So the rail is the best way forward in Europe, which takes some getting used to as Americans. The next thing would be a world-class gastronomic scene. We do not, I guess that sounds, I was gonna say we do not like Spanish food. We do like Spanish food, it just doesn't have a whole lot of variety or a whole lot of spice or flavor to it.
It does have variety, but we are used to a lot of variety. We are used to, Asian cuisine and Indian cuisine and just the gamut, and we like that. We truly love like spice and love just having something different every day. And the longer that we're in Spain, the more we discover. You think that you know what Spanish cuisine is, and then you stumble in and find this amazing restaurant that has all this cool stuff that you've never seen before, and it's something that dates back, hundreds and thousands of years or whatnot. But
I don't know about thousands.
Well, whatever. We're still
1,000-year-old restaurants.
We're still discovering things, but still, I think that having other cultures of food scene is important to us. So
yeah, we're, like he said, we're used to Indian one night, sushi the next night, Thai food. We wanted to be in a place where it wasn't simply a like Spanish small town and that's all that existed, because we could see ourselves getting real kind of antsy if that were the case. So the town that we are purchasing in has all of the stuff, I'm pretty sure, that we need. They've got 2 Indian restaurants, sushi. You can get
vegan restaurants.
Yeah, vegan restaurants. So you can get your hands on just about anything you want. And then certainly if you can't find that certain thing that you're looking for, maybe like niche, like Middle Eastern food. I would say that there's kind of like broad Middle Eastern restaurants, but if there's like certain, like you want to have Nepalese food one night, I'm not sure if that level of detail exists, but Barcelona is 30 minutes away. So we could get there to do that. The next thing is a mixed and friendly population, as well as the presence of a gay community in the city. All of those things were super important to us. There are still some like relatively conservative kind of smaller towns in Spain where they're not thrilled with the gay community as much, and they're not open to outsiders if you don't look like them. We're big believers in assimilating into the culture that you're joining when it comes to respecting their traditions and not wanting to bring, not wanting to make everywhere America. There's a lot of resentment in the Costa del Sol in the south of Spain over all the British expats that have moved there. And they refuse to learn the language, and they bring all of their cultural stuff with them and sort of have taken over the Costa del Sol in many different areas. And there's definitely a local resentment towards that sort of thing, which I completely understand, and I think is absolutely justified.
And that happens in lots of different places, not just the Brits. We've got British friends.
No, we love British people, but the older population of British folks that are retired in the Costa del Sol come there wanting a sunny version of Great Britain, and they think that they can just come on in and purchase everything and make it their own. And that, like I said, has resulted in some resentment. So we are learning the language. I'm not sure that we'll be incredibly fluent, but we will be relatively conversational. I would say by the time we make this move in 6-ish months, or make the initial move, we're not full-time moving, but just the part-time move. So
I think adding to that also a place that was friendly to animals and to dogs, because Oliver is such an important part of our life, and we pretty much take him everywhere. And so we found a place that we feel like if you don't have a dog, you don't have a handbag for the day, because everyone has a dog. So that is a really wonderful feeling to feel like he's so welcome, and that all of the restaurants and cafes all welcome him, and it's just very matter of fact that of course he's welcome. Of course he can come in and be with you, and it's just not even a deal. So that's a really important thing to us.
Yeah, absolutely. The next thing is we wanted to be in an area that was at least moderate to progressive politically. We didn't want to deal with any sort of like fringe political environment. We have been dealing with that in the US now for a long many years, and we are just kind of fed up with that. We recognize that there is some fringe elements of the political spectrum in Spain. It would appear, based on this last election that happened last month, that the most fringe elements of the party are losing ground, which is fantastic when compared to kind of the gaining ground in Italy and Germany that had us very concerned about where the future of Europe is from a political standpoint. But the most fringe right-wing party within Spain lost 36% of their seats in this last election. And I think that was from 2019 to 2023. So in 4 years, they lost a huge chunk of their seats. So I feel like they're feeling deplatformed, which is wonderful, and more kind of moderate level heads can hopefully work things out. And there is a moderate right and a moderate left party, and both of those folks seem to work together reasonably well. It's these two ends of the fringe political spectrum that seem to ruin it for everyone, and we did not want to be in an environment that was politically charged, and that, like in America, people lose friends and disown each other over politics now. It's the first time I've ever experienced that. That sort of started taking place pre-Trump and has only gotten worse. So that was something that was important to us, was to have like a moderate or neutral or even apathetic kind of political environment, as opposed to this crazy charged environment that we exist in America.
Can't we all just get along?
Can't we all just get along? You think we can? You want to go talk about the healthcare?
Yeah, it was very important for us to have healthcare as we age. We are middle-aged or whatever.
We are not middle-aged.
Well, whatever. We're not like right out of college. We're not, we've been,
I'm 35. I'm not middle-aged.
I'm a little older than that. So anyway, but we wanted to be in a place where if we needed something specific. If something was going on, we were able to get that. We weren't having to fly back in order to just have something routine done. We wanted to be able to have good healthcare, good doctors.
Yeah.
I think that's important for everyone to have.
Yeah, even if you're young, something's going to happen eventually, and you're going to need emergency care. I'll tell you my little story really quick. We were on our 10-week trip across Europe this summer, kind of mapping out and honing in on and confirming where we wanted to be. And I started having appendix pain, and I thought I was having appendicitis. So I went to the hospital in Barcelona. What was it called? University Hospital? Clinica Barcelona, and had to get checked in for the emergency room. So making sure that was sort of like great, baptism by fire as far as experiencing their healthcare system, because from the initial kind of consult to the overnight stay to the x-ray to the medicine to all this stuff was without insurance, which we should have had traveler's insurance, but we didn't, was incredibly cheap. And then having follow-up visits, I had to have what was it called?
CAT scan?
A CAT scan or something? No, ultrasound?
CAT scan?
I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was a CAT scan.
Oh,
but had to have something. Anyways, it was a fraction of the cost of what it would be in America. It was 140 euros for the going in the tube and getting the scanny thing done to your abdomen. And my local doctor here in Fort Lauderdale said that would have been 1,000-ish here. So considerably more efficient healthcare system there. And like we mentioned in the previous video, they don't have like the capitalist mindset. Steve found a doctor on WhatsApp on like Google Maps and has been texting with this guy on WhatsApp, just asking general questions about, hey, would you mind offering me a consultation? I have some questions not about like my health, but just about the general healthcare system in Spain and understanding exactly how the public system, the private system, how it all works and prescription availability and that sort of thing. And I think you have probably exchanged 30 text messages at least with the guy. And he's offered the guy twice, like, can I please pay you? Can I please send you money? Can I give you a consult? And the guy says, don't worry about it. So, and we've never met the person.
Or just doesn't respond.
Or doesn't care. So you would never imagine that in America. Like first you're going to pay and then you're going to get the appointment. You're not gonna have to chase the provider down to say, can I please give you some money? And it's extremely affordable. I would say anywhere from, a quarter of the cost of what you would spend in America, probably.
Something's even less.
And that's very like realistic. I know you read like those international living magazines and they tell you about how you can get a facelift for $3. That's not the case, but a realistic price is probably 70% to 80% off of whatever you'd experience in the US cost-wise. And that's actual pricing. I'm sure if we went to like a more rural hospital, we weren't going to like the best rated hospital in Barcelona, it probably would have been even cheaper. But
I think, and also just getting established with a doctor so that when something does go wrong, you're not having to figure this out. As it's happening, you already have someone that you can turn to, just like you would in the States or wherever you have your main healthcare. So.
And they do. I think we might have mentioned this in the last video, but I had 2 medical things while we were there for 10 weeks. And the first thing I had was a sinus infection after I arrived. And I was like, oh God, I'm gonna have to go to like a clinic and sit somewhere for 3 hours and then, all this stuff. And it wasn't that way at all. I found this doctor online in Sitges and I was able to send him a message because they oftentimes just post the direct doctor's phone number or WhatsApp. And I messaged him and I said, hey, like, can I make an appointment? I need to come in, I have a sinus infection. And he spoke English. He responded back right away. He said, I'm booked up today, but let's hop on a video call. And within 10 minutes, we're on a video call for 90 seconds. I'm telling him my symptoms, telling him that this is not my first time having this. It's happened since I've been a little kid. I get one every couple of years. He's making a prescription for me, sending me a photo of the prescription, and I'm going to the pharmacy, and for, I think it was $3.80, I had my prescription picked up, or $3, yeah, 3.8 euros. I have my prescription in hand from start to finish of my initial text message to video consult to prescription in my hand, and we're walking back to the hotel. Took maybe 15 minutes, I would say, from start to finish. So some things in Spain are going to move really rapidly and you're going to be like very surprised, and other things you're going to notice, like the service industry generally kind of moves a little more sluggishly.
Well, just because of cultural stuff.
Right? Yeah. There's no turn the tables.
There are apps that you can go to, Teledoc and or Telemed, or different things like that that you can pre-establish before you even start this journey, so that at least you kind of have that baseline care, someone that you can that will speak your language, that you can get on your phone with and just FaceTime or whatever you need if something were to arise that's easily solvable.
And honestly, we look back at what happened to me while we were in Barcelona, and we were actually happy that it all took place, because we now know what the urgent care situation looks like. We know what the hospital situation looks like. We know what that imaging center, we know, kind of the ins and outs.
I would not recommend
I would recommend going through having appendicitis while you're in Spain, but if you are going to have it, just know that if you're within the proximity to the main city, which again is part of the wanting to be within 30 minutes of a huge city, that was part of our reasoning. Is we didn't want to we love, what's the area called? Cadiz in like South Spain, that's pretty remote, and there's a lot of very remote kind of towns all around Spain where you're maybe an hour or 2 hours to get to kind of a mega city. And for us, that was just a little bit unnerving. We had a home in the mountains in North Carolina, and we were 35 or so minutes to get to Asheville, which was the next biggest city. And even that was a little bit kind of dicey, knowing that if something goes wrong, you're getting in the car.
Down the mountain.
Yeah, you're driving down the mountain and you're going 30 miles to get to any sort of like decent quality care. So anyways, it becomes more and more important probably as you age, but things happen all the time. The next thing I would say would be a generally reasonable cost of living. Sitges, which is the town that we purchased in, I would not say it's like affordable. There are many, many, many much more affordable cities you could go to that are going to have much less stuff going on, kind of traditional Spanish. Oliver,
it's kind of on the higher side actually. For Spain, in some respects, but yeah, it kind of checks all of our other boxes, and it's kind of what we're used to. Here in the States as far as cost of living, so it wasn't as big of a shock to us. I think that we had lived in Spain and kind of been in an area where we had been paying less. Going there would be a lot for us.
But if you're moving from a big American city, if you're living in a city where, like in Fort Lauderdale here, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home is going to run, there's a huge spread in housing costs down here. In a not so great neighborhood, it's going to run $700,000, $600,000. In a nice neighborhood, it's going to run closer to $1 million, up to $4 million to be on the intercoastal for a small single-family home. So I would say, like in housing cost terms, the homes are certainly more affordable than they are in many kind of large American cities. And then overall, food prices and things like that, I would say that we're pretty comparable to Fort Lauderdale to Sitges as far as restaurant prices. Maybe it's a hair less, maybe 10% less. And then some things are way less, like a glass of wine could be €4 at a restaurant in Sitges, whereas here in Fort Lauderdale it could be $12 at dinner. So
if you enjoy sitting in a cafe all day long
and drinking,
then it is the place for you, because it doesn't matter where you are in Spain, you can find that cafe that is there to people watch and to serve you up that glass of wine that is regional, and they have lots of different. It's not one note wine in Spain. They have lots and lots of different grapes and wine regions in Spain, and so it varies just like it does the rest of the world.
Yeah. And then the very last thing, and this kind of piggybacks on the very first thing, which was proximity to an international airport, being 30 minutes or so away. The last thing is we wanted to have nonstop flights available from the airport directly back to the East Coast of the US, as we still have business here and we have not exited, and we're not exiting North America yet. At some point we might, but we still, even when we do, wanted to have that hop on one flight and get back to somewhere on the East Coast of the US. And for us, Barcelona works out really well because we can get a nonstop Barcelona to Miami, we can get a nonstop Barcelona to Philly. There's no nonstop Barcelona to Charlotte, but there is a quick layover one. Correct. Yeah. So you can go from Barcelona to New York, that sort of thing. So those are all the reasons why we ended up landing in Sitges, Spain. It's a fantastic little town, but there are so many fantastic towns, and we've investigated many of them.
Yeah, we've like we said before, we've been to Spain a million times, not a million, but many times. And every time we go, we try someplace new, and we go someplace that we love and that we've been many times beforehand, because you always want to go back to the places that you love as well. And we continue to find new spots, new favorites. and new wonderful people that we connect with. Download WhatsApp if you don't have WhatsApp on your phone, because most of Europe communicates that way.
In America, it's often used for like spammy things and scammy things. Like I'm in real estate in America, and whenever we get a message that says like, "Hi, this is so and so. Can we communicate via WhatsApp?" It's like red flag central. And that was my experience with the app until you get there and realize that our real estate agent, our attorney, our accountant, everyone we've hired in Spain all communicates exclusively via WhatsApp. They don't really use email too much. WhatsApp is sort of like the all-encompassing video conferencing, telephone, texting, and email app all in one, and it's free. So that's a great price.
Yeah.
So those are our reasons for why we chose the city we're in. Curious as to if you're on the expat hunt for a city, what are some of your kind of things you're looking for that are maybe different or the same as what we're looking for? So drop those in the comment below. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out.